Hello everyone, this is MRK with Gamey Daddy, and I'm here with another video from Tom Clancy's The Division 2. So right now I wanted to give initial thoughts and impressions on The Division 2, and before you start freaking out about my thumbnail, that was just a joke. Yes, I did get a bunch of deltas, and so did a lot of people, but we know it's a private beta, and this is Massive, which we've had a 3-year history with, and they know how to do hot fixes, hot patches. We've seen them do it in the Division 1 game, and I think they'll know how to fix these delta issues hopefully by the time the public beta is out. But I do want to say that the way the game is currently, I think it is built and developed on very similar framework to the Division 1. I'm not a programmer, I'm not a coder, and people say things like they built the game from scratch. I don't think the developers said that. They probably may have said they built the game from ground up, but it seemed like they've recycled a lot of their elements, and the game is actually well done. Polished, sound is great. So let's walk through a few things that I think we can all agree on, and we can all say these are things that will probably make the game fun, and then we'll look at the few things that they can actually work on and fix. Now, it is a private beta, so we're not taking anything extremely seriously, and some people may push back and say, well, they only have one more month to make these fixes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've done a lot of testing for the Division for Massive. In fact, they're the one company that actually has hired free testers. In fact, this time they actually make you pay to test with their very weird policy of pre-ordering before you get in a private beta. But that aside, I can say that there are certain things that we can always give good check marks right now in the game. So let's not really focus directly on all the negatives, but let's highlight some of the good things, and then over the course of this video we're going to look at some of the things that could use some work. And so the first one is soundtrack. Soundtrack is 10 out of 10. I enjoy the soundtrack of the game. Now you're wondering, what does that even have to do with anything? Please, the Division soundtrack has always been a monumental aspect of the game, and so this is one thing that I can say we are definitely excited for, because they've actually used similar tracks with just a little bit of modification from the sound designer of the game in the sense of the soundtrack. And then when you come to the weapon sounds are actually very solid. I made a video talking about the changes in the weapon sounds, and I didn't think those were good choices because of familiarity, but the truth is the current weapon sounds are actually quite solid. So let's give that a check mark. Weapon sounds 9 out of 10. Some things regarding the polish of the world, the way the game is actually designed, the aesthetics, that is definitely a 10/10. I know some people may have compared this game to Ghost Recon Wildlands, but I have both games on PC and I can run them on almost max settings. And I just want to say that this game is just not like Ghost Recon Wildlands, because they're in two different places. One is in Bolivia, and that game was built probably on a much different engine than the Division, because it was developed by a separate team at Ubisoft and not Massive Studios. Massive Studios have used the Snowdrop engine, and this engine knows how to make beautiful, beautiful games. And so that being said, we're looking at a game that looks very polished and a game that looks very good. I mean, even the floorboards in some areas, you can almost tell the color of stain that's used for them. That's how well this engine actually renders some of the textures in the game. Now, those are three things that are actually solid. Now, the agents, voice acting, those are also some of the aspects that you can put into this game and say yes. The way the mission structures are set up, yes. Level design, yes. I mean, everything I'm saying yes to, I'm giving a 9 or a 10 out of 10. Lighting, day-night cycle, weather, fog, rain. These are some really new and unique aspects of this Division 2 game. Now, that being said, from this private beta, we have seen deltas, we've seen frame rate drops, we've seen a few bugs. I'm not going to make any judgment, because these things can be patched even before the public beta, and Massive needs to get to work. And so when you ask me what my initial impressions are still optimistic about this game, still going to play the game. There are bugs. I mean, you may have watched some videos here and there about some of the gameplay glitches or whatever they are, and people have made jokes and have made puns and all these things about them. But I would say nonetheless, we need to be looking for great game-breaking bugs instead of playing around and report these game-breaking bugs. And some people even told me that they found glitches, and I've also encouraged them to report those glitches to Massive. So on hand, especially if you're going to be playing the public beta, you're better off actually playing that public beta. And we have 4 weeks to go before the game is actually fully released. And I genuinely think that they can actually start making these fixes right now. But the only thing is how I wish we could have our hands on the full game. But, you know, it's massive responsibility because we can put forward our, our observations based on this beta, which is a very small portion of the game. And we don't know what's next. We don't know what the remaining 80% of the game and end game will look like and what all the other gear sets have to hold. So Massive has to be very proactive and put their ears on the ground. The success of this game is predicated on how they respond to the community, because it seems like this game is going to have a little bit of issues, a little bit of kinks to work out. And I hope that they don't release the game in that state. But right now, we're just in a place where I can't say anything for sure. I can't recommend the game to you. You would have to make that decision yourself after the public beta. I can only give my opinion, but my opinion has to be limited to the scope that this is a private beta. This is a testing window, and we've seen Massive make solid fixes in a short period of time, and we hope that they can actually make a whole bunch of them. They need to call their people and say, get off of vacation, get into the studio. We need to clean up some code, and we need to get this thing to work. So that's all I have for today. Thank you for your time and your audience. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. We're still playing the beta. I'm playing with a few friends here and some people in the community. We're kind of having some discussions about it, and I'll try my best to answer your questions. And that's all I got. Thank you so much for everything, and I guess I'll see you in my next video. Peace.